I need somebody from Kobe's team to come up, please. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great honor to ask everybody that's in the back, please come forward, find seats. It is a beautiful, beautiful evening. The weather is gorgeous. I'm being blind. Yeah. I'm blind. No, you do.
No, I see what you're saying.
Oh, Rabbi, look here. Bring it down. I don't care. Bring it down. Put it on the people. Do whatever you want. Hey, I didn't see you in a long time. How are you? Oh, good. Jennifer and Isaac. You want to come forward and come sit down, please? It's better if you're closer to me. Thank you, Jen. Good evening, everybody. We promised that we were going to start at 8:30. It's 8:30, and we want to get the program started. Everybody in the back, please come sit down. I could speak louder, but there's no need. Good evening, everybody. Tonight is a first. And I don't get to do many firsts because usually an organization in our community has been rooted, embedded 5 years, 10 years, and much more in some cases. But tonight I'm proud and I'm pleased that I am a part of. It has a name, but the theme behind Mekudeshet. Yes, there's a name, that's the header. And the theme behind it, you will hear a lot more about tonight. To me, to my wife, to everybody, I think, in this community, there's a sensitive area that we can do a better job. We could do more. And we haven't done our fullest to be the greatest community, Sephardic Jewish community, the world over. I've traveled, I've spoken, I know there is nobody like us. We are the dynamic people. And we want to try and work towards solving the issue of marriage within our community. We need more weddings. We need more girls and boys to get married, to find each other. We have the greatest matchmakers in the world. And my cousin Kim and our husband Solomon conceptualized an idea, a dream that they brought and made a reality out of called Mekudeshet. And it has a tremendous, tremendous ability if we back it, if we support it, and we have to allow it. We have to allow it, meaning we must pray for that it's successful, that it accomplishes dozens and dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of marriages, of girls meeting boys, of going on what I call that first date. Go on a date. You never know. But till you get to that point, till you find who may be good for who, there is an incredible, tremendous amount of work behind the scenes that needs to be done, or it will not succeed. And Kim and Solomon and the team at Mekudeshet, which you'll hear more about tonight, we have a short video. They've thought this through. Kim has been in my office 3 or 4 times in the past 9 months. She's pretty much put everything on the side in order to help. And of course, every marriage is precious, every couple. But I and Rabbi Zeri have spoken time and time about the ones that get a little older, the ones that could fall by the wayside, think there's nobody out there for them. But that's not true. There's a pot to every cover. And we need to uncover that and bring it to the fruition of couples dating, loving each other, and we have the rabbis ready to marry them and let them be on their way. So my dream that we, and this is a statistic, I didn't count it, so don't hold me responsible, but I pretty much know what I'm talking about. We are way north of 80,000 people today as a community. By 2030, I have no doubt we could be close to 100,000 people. We thrive in every area. I know, because Hashem has blessed me to be there in some cases to watch and see. But this one area, we could do a better job. And I believe if you back us, if you support us, and if you pass the word, a friend to a friend to a friend, Mekudeshet, Mekudeshet, Mekudeshet. I don't want to spend more time right now. I'd like to call up our host of the evening, Isaac, his wife, our hostess of the evening, Jennifer, to please come up. Isaac's going to want to say a few words to us, and we'd like to call you up right now. Yeah. So I'm going to put this down in a minute, and I actually didn't pick it, but I picked the concept because Kim and I were talking, and what should we get them? And we talked about silver cups, we talked about candlesticks, and I got to tell you, there is no better whiskey glass in the world, here, the city, Florida, whatever you want. This is a small gift from Mekudeshet for you for opening your home.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. Thank you, Kim.
I'm going to let you and your wife stay up here. You can put that down. And we will take a proper picture later with Kim and Solomon. And I'm going to, you know what? When you're done, you could just say, I don't have to come up. Now watch the
My wife would rather I speak first. So welcome everybody. Kim approached us about having this event and touched our heart. There is no greater cause, no better celebration than seeing our community come together. It is the bedrock of everything that we do. Having the family bonds and having our community grow, it's all dependent on marriages. So she's made 90 matches in the last year. I think that's something unbelievable. Unbelievable. And that's just getting started. People never heard of it. I had never heard of it. My wife had never heard of it. It's just getting out there. And to have that kind of success that early, that's something we need to get behind. She's proven the concept over the last year. She provided the seed funding to get it off the ground, and kol hakavod to her and her family and to Solomon and to the entire family and getting this off the ground. What is a chut to do something like this? That's always the hardest part. We get the easier part of helping out to take it to the next step, and hopefully it'll go to hundreds of matches in the coming year. So ask you to open your hearts and your wallets and help out.
Everybody, welcome. And Kim, I want to thank you for introducing us to this program. And everybody knows Kim knows she's an incredible woman. And I thank her for introducing us and welcome everybody. And thank you.
Now the video.
Now, the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call a crisis.
The need in this community that has developed over the last number of years has become tremendous. It's literally graduates from every single school in this community. I would tell you that any rabbi that is involved gets requests every single day. Rabbi, do you have someone for my daughter? Rabbi, do you have someone for my son? Back in the day, 50, 60 years ago, matchmaking in this community was easy.
It was enough to have one matchmaker in their home working while they're cooking, thinking up ideas. They call someone up, they match them up. Today, the community got so huge, Baruch Hashem, and now that's not enough anymore.
The world has completely changed. There's so many different levels of religion. There's so many different levels and styles of families.
Today, believe it or not, you could study the numbers. There are hundreds and hundreds of girls over the age of 20, 21, 23, 25, 28, and even older into their 30s that are not married today.
To expect people to get married by accident when they meet on a street corner or accidentally at a wedding, or things that have to happen through a friend that may have known this one or that one, that's nice, it happens, it's happened before, and hopefully it will continue to happen. But ultimately, what are we doing? What am I doing? What are you doing?
Yitzchak got married to a girl from Haran. They sent a matchmaker. They sent Eliezer to do the work. Eliezer came back the next day with the right girl. Hashem chose Shadchanim to be his agents to make Shidduchim happen.
You know what's incredible? Is that the bigger our community gets, the more alone so many individual people feel. You have a girl who's 20 years old. 20 is not old. And she'll go to a wedding and come home and cry hysterically.
That if you know the pain that the girls go through, they come to me, many of the older girls in their mid-20s coming to me and feeling so lost. All their friends are married, all their friends are engaged.
And there's a sense, because our community has so many different levels, there's a sense that every girl and every boy on every level has, that I'm alone on this level.
Many people think the dating issue is specific to girls. What we found is that really it's not that way. Maybe you'll say, okay, girls, I know girls that are getting older. If you think about it honestly, you'll realize that there are many boys that are also getting older and they're not focused enough on getting married. Maybe they're worried about finances. Maybe they're worried about finding the perfect person.
For those whose children are getting married or got married, thank Hashem that you were able to marry off your children. But we cannot forget there are so many people that need to get married. Some are young, they need help for sure. And the people who got older, they also need help. We all need to pitch in to make sure that every single person that needs a shidduch has been given all the opportunities possible.
Mekudeshet is so critical to alleviate so much of this pain. And you know how I know that you understand this pain? Because if you have children of age, you know what I mean.
We can help by being in contact and supporting Mekudeshet.
Amazing video. Incredible. So we've got probably, and we'll be brief, we'll respect your time, of course, because a few people asked me. We've got a lineup of four of the greatest rabbis in our community, in our generation, that are giving all of their life, all their heart, all of their soul, everything that embodies the good that comes out in this community, they represent. So I'm not going to come up each time because I want to try to keep it going. We're going to have Rabbi Shaul Haber, who is a co-founder of Mekudeshet, together with the Dabbas and others that helped build it. After that, Rabbi Joey Haber will come up to speak to us. Then Rabbi David Ozeri will come up and give us his view of what he sees going on in our community. And then Rabbi Meir Yedid. And after that, I'll give you some statistics and we'll be on our way tonight. And hopefully we've changed your lives. We've changed the lives of others, especially what you saw in that video. These young people that need a little bit more, a bigger push than like Rabbi Meir said on the video. The natural ones, those are going to happen. But we can't let the ones that fall by the wayside be on the wayside. We've got to pick them up. We've got to get them to their destination, and that's to the chuppah. Rabbi Shaul Haber, please come up.
You could see Harry by every event, and you'll never get tired of seeing him. A story. Rav Yaakov Galinsky, a well-known rabbi, was known for his wit and his wisdom. And he was once going to fundraise in Mexico. He had a big deficit in his yeshiva, and he was going to fundraise. He showed up at a home, a very large home. He was given the address. He knocked on the door. They opened the door, and they tell him, Rabbi, he tells them what he's there for. They tell him, Rabbi, perfect. We are having a Chanukat Habayit. We want you to come to the backyard and give us a speech. He wasn't prepared, so he's walking in the backyard, and he's thinking what he's going to speak about, and suddenly he falls into the pool. And now he's drenched. He's embarrassed. He's drenched. He gets out of the pool, and he stands up to speak with his long black coat, all wet. And he gets up and he says, it's the first time I went to the mikveh before I got up to give a speech. And everyone, laughed and they appreciated his words, his speech. And he raised his entire deficit at that one moment, at that one event. And he commented after, he said, usually I get small embarrassments and small amounts of money. I go to an office, they ask me questions I don't want to answer. I get a little embarrassed. They degrade me a little bit, and I get small amounts of money. He said, now this time, I got a large embarrassment, but I got all the money I needed in this one moment. And that's really, if you think about it, that's the way fundraising is for many organizations. You get embarrassed, you go to offices, you feel uncomfortable, you have to sell your cause. People are not really buying it. But I think for us at Mekudeshet, the fundraising was in fact a relief. We didn't really feel what we were expecting to feel, and what we were nervous we would hear from people. Instead of is this really we expected to hear from people, is this really an important cause? We heard unbelievable, it's so needed. And from every part of the community, every segment of the community we went to, nobody said, why do we need this? Is it really something that our community needs? Nobody reacted that way. Instead of hearing from people, matchmaking is not for us, it's too out there, too heavy, we heard, wow, that's a perfect solution to a problem that we all know exists. We were expecting to hear, why can't everyone just meet at parties? Why do we need matchmakers? Instead, we heard from people, put down my niece, take my daughter's information, and set her up. In fact, I kept calling it an issue because I don't like the word crisis. I feel like it's too depressing. And when we went to people and I'm calling it an issue, they're telling me, Rabbi, it's a crisis. And Baruch Hashem, the funds as well matched the words that the people said. But of course, we always need more. When we approached the same thing, when we approached Isaac and Jennifer Sitt to use their home, we expected to hear our son's wedding is a week before your event. It would be a very nice thing if you came back next year. We'll be happy to open our home. Instead, they were gracious from the beginning. They said, as long as it's not on the wedding day, we're good. And they supported us. And as you see, they're gracious. And I think that the first home that an organization does their event in is very important because it sets the tone for the organization for future years. One of the first people we went to, in fact, one of the first people I ever fundraised from in my life, we went to him and we asked him for $10,000. We said we thought that that was a nice amount to get from him. He said, instead of $10,000, I want to sponsor 10 matches. And then he said, not 10 regular matches, I want to sponsor 10 special matches, knowing full well that the word special would cost him. And I think the reason we got this kind of response from people is twofold. Number one, because every single person in this room and everyone we went to and everyone in the community knows a single that's waiting to get married. And everybody knows that in today's day and age, it's not enough to just walk up to a girl by a wedding or wherever it is and just meet her and date her. You need more information. You need to know background. The world is too complicated for the old way. If it works for you here and there, great. But in the general sense, I think more information is better. And secondly, it reiterated to me something that my father impressed on me. And that is that this community is not just a good community, it's a great community. Because in a good community, you would see a boy or a girl at a wedding and say to yourself, I wish I had someone for them. And then you would go on your way and you'd forget about them. But in a great community, you'd put their name onto our database and you would follow up and hound us. Do you have someone for that person? Do you have someone for that person? And that's our community. In a regular community, a person would see a boy who needs a little push, a little encouragement. Maybe they would go over to them and push them, maybe even bother them. But in our community, in an unbelievable community like ours, they would fund coaching for that boy through our Mekudeshet, through our organization. In a regular caring community where they care a little bit, someone would approach a community member and ask them to start an organization to create a network to solve this issue. And that person would take it on. But in our community, someone approached Mrs. Kim Daba and asked her to start, and I'm not crying, my voice goes, and asked her to start an organization. And not only did she start this organization with a beautiful database, with privacy for every person. We don't even let matchmakers on unless we vet them. And even they sign a release where they're not going to say anything. She started this organization with a beautiful database of singles who enter their own name, but also funded it herself for an entire year to the tune of several $100,000. And then when we approached Solomon Daba to get involved with the fundraising, which is always the most fun, he said, I'll do it. And we kept pushing him, and he kept doing it. And every day I would see a text, so-and-so, 5,000, 7,200, 1,800 from Solomon Daba. In a regular community, if you invite people on a Tuesday night to come to a fundraiser to take care of an issue like this, they would say, I may not have anywhere nicer to be than this backyard, but I have places that are easier to be and will cost me less. But look at all of you who came out on a night like this to support Mekudeshet. Many of you already have your children married. Why did you come out? Because you're all amazing. Because our community feels that with Hashem's help, no one should remain single just because we didn't put in enough effort. And no one should sit at home wondering when the phone will ring because no one cared enough. And no parent should feel alone thinking, is my son or my daughter as good as I thought they were? And that's how parents feel when they don't get that phone call that they were expecting. I want to end with a piece of a tefillah as a beracha that Rabbi Yaakov Hillel wrote special for our organization for Mekudeshet. And I think what other organization can say that they have their own tefillah? He said in his tefillah, it should be Hashem's will that he should find for all the singles of the Jewish people their proper match easily, because with that a person becomes complete and they can serve Hashem with happiness and they can build a home with holiness and purity. That tefillah should be fulfilled in everyone that's here and everyone that was willing to give up a Tuesday night where we know the husbands don't come home every night of the week. They're willing to give up a Tuesday night for us and to show the community singles that they care. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. Father, just for the record, that is my brother. I take all the credit. No, really, Rabbi Shaul, those beautiful words and beautiful job, and Hashem should bless your work and everything that you're doing. We're going to be brief. I'll just share with you this. Last night I gave 2 girls' classes. There's not a lot of boys in town on Monday nights. So at 7:15, we give a pretty large class to single girls of all ages. And then at 8:15, went to someone's backyard. There's about 50 girls there. All of them 26 and over. 25 and over. And if you would look and see their faces, and see their loneliness, and see their feelings, from every single school, there's not one school that is immune from this problem. There's not one group that can say, oh, we got it covered because we do it this way or we do it that way. Every single demographic in this community has the same frustration. And looking at them, I ended up giving the class almost 2 hours because of what we're trying to accomplish tonight. And here's what we're trying to accomplish. You know, the Gemara writes that the first book of Ketuvim is Ruth. Gemara says, but why is that the case? Iyov, according to some, happened first. Gemara says because Iyov is all problems. It's all Puraniyut, and we don't want to start with problems. So the Gemara asks, but Ruth also has a lot of problems. The story of Ruth is a sad one. They left the community. They became poor. They came back. He said, yes, but Ruth has the right to be the opening book of Ketubim because Ruth ends with hope. Tonight is about hope. Tonight is about looking at every boy and every girl in the community and saying, we do have your back. We do care about you. There is hope. Every single day, every rabbi here will tell you the same thing. Every single day we get a few calls. Rabbi, do you have a girl for my son? Literally walking into here tonight, I opened up my phone and this was a text message. Rabbi, do me a favor. Do you have, Rabbi, I need a good reference on a girl that Joe is interested in. Just now. And it's all day. And it's every day. You know, we have an organization, Kesha. We're dealing with all boys and girls. Every day, Rabbi, you know, my daughter, find someone for him. And they become desperate at this point, so young. Once had a meeting with a girl. The girl was hysterical crying. She had every single thing going for her. Hysterical crying because a few of her friends got engaged. I said, 1 second, how old are you? She says, 18. I said, you kidding? You're 18. Because they know how desperate it becomes and how fast it happens, they start to worry so early. If this organization succeeds, then you could look every family in this community in the eye. And I don't care their background. I don't care their school. I don't care their religious level. I don't care their age group. I don't care their financial bracket. I don't care who their parents are. I don't care whether they're the cool name or not a cool name. I don't care. Every single family is struggling with this from a young age. If we're able to support this tonight, we could look every family in the eye and say, we're there for you. We have your back. I'll tell you the truth. I sat there with the girls and I said, I care. I really do. I understand. And try to give as much encouraging words as I can. But I don't know if I really could say I'm putting my actions where my mouth is. And tonight is our chance to do so. And I'll tell you, as an organization, we literally gave our rabbis and teachers and said, go participate with Mekudeshet. Take the girls you know, find them boys. Take the boys you know, find them girls. Because everyone wants this idea. This is not something that's only for a certain style and a certain school of thought, certain religious level. Maybe that would have been the case 15 years ago. Today, every single person I know is feeling the desperation way earlier than you think they would. Tonight's our chance to show them we have their back. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to begin with a short story. Hasidic Jews, the way they get married is the parents go out on a date and they talk a lot about their children. And if they like everything, the children are engaged. The boy and the girl don't see each other till the wedding, believe it or not. Okay, so there was a wedding that took place like this. And at the end of the wedding, of course, the boy is on the boy's side and the girl is on the girl's side. They don't each other. At the end of the wedding, Hasidic Jews take down the mechitzah, and it's just family left, and they sit there for the meal. And this new groom is sitting next to his father-in-law, and all of a sudden the bride comes walking in. She has a terrible limp, and the groom is shocked. He whispers to his father-in-law, "Dad, you didn't tell me she's a cripple." He says, "You don't have to whisper. She's deaf also." Rabotai, that's what happens when you don't know what's going on. We know what's going on. Like I said, for years, we have a crisis. Ask Harry. We've gotten up in public and screamed. For years, there is a crisis in our community. Hundreds and hundreds of girls are not getting married. Rabbi Haber just described to you that wherever he goes, I could be at a wedding, a bar mitzvah, a bris, a pidyon, a class, a funeral, a bet avel. Every single place I go, Rabbi, I need somebody for my daughter. I had a man come to me, says, I have 3 daughters, 26, 24, and 23. Not one has gotten a date yet. He has no money. Nobody calls. He thinks nobody cares. This is what is going on. And finally, they have an address to go to, Mekudeshet. Let me tell you a little about Mekudeshet. Mekudeshet is not the brainchild of any particular individual. Kim Daba, God bless her, visited many communities to see what do they do for their singles. And she created, and she hired, and she built a website, particularly for our community, tailor-made for our community, to accommodate this community in particular. Mekudeshet is proven that singles from our community can be set up with the help of matchmakers. Now that word matchmaker sounds like Fiddler on the Roof, like we're 300 years ago back in the shtetl. No, our matchmakers are very different. Our matchmakers are women from our community who understand the girls and the boys. They are women who are up-to-date women who know what is going on. And I got to tell you something. Before Mekudeshet, many of these matchmakers were burned out. I'm telling you, they were burned out. They didn't have any help. They weren't getting paid. It was very, very difficult for them. And the same names come to them over and over again. They needed a data. They needed somebody to report back to. In walks Mekudeshet. Mekudeshet, let me give you some of the stats. 3,000 community singles are now on our app. 3,000. Some simple stats. 51% of those 3,000 are girls. 49% are boys. Shocking, huh? Shocking. I wish I could tell you how many eligible singles there actually are in this community, but I really can't. We know of 3,000. There's probably 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. We don't know. We're building the data bank. We are building. Ladies and gentlemen, On this list of 3,000, as you have heard, some are young, vibrant, some are apprehensive about this process. Others have been forgotten. Yes, forgotten. There are girls out there, 28, 30, 32, 35. They have been forgotten. Older girls, despondent and alone. I'm sorry to be morbid, but it's true. It's true. We can't hide our face in the ground and just walk away and say, okay, it's nice. We go to a lot of weddings. We're invited to a wedding every night, sometimes two, sometimes three. But when you talk about a community of 80,000 people, it's not enough. In less than 10 months, does this system work? In less than 10 months, 93 buzzers were made. Less than 10 months. Why? What makes it happen? It wasn't discussed tonight. How does it work? What do you need so much money for? Matchmaker calls up girl, matchmaker calls up boy, send them on a date, goodbye. These matchmakers are paid for getting a girl a date. Mekudeshet has all their banking information. They are screened. They are welcome to be a Mekudeshet matchmaker. We have their banking information. They go on the app. They inform us that they made a match, girl A with boy B, a girl over 20 years old, for example. I don't know if the numbers are correct. She wakes up in the morning after they had their first date, and the matchmaker has $150 in her bank account. They go on a third date, they may have $200 or $300 more in their bank account. There's an engagement, they may have $2,000, $3,000 in their bank. Now you know where the money is going. Now they feel appreciated, these matchmakers. Now they want to work. Many of them need the money. These are women who are homemakers, who they could spend hours every day on matchmaking with no remuneration. But now they have it. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, the Syrian community has a dress to go to marry off our daughters and our sons. Thank you, Kim Daba. Thank you for all coming tonight. And one last thing. We need money desperately. This thing is going to grow. It's going to catch on. We need money. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rabbi Ozeri. Thank you to Isaac and Jennifer Sid for opening their beautiful home. Like Rabbi Shaul said, I didn't believe when I got the invitation that it was actually happening, being that their wedding was last week. But God bless them and bless all of us that were part of this unbelievable community, that we're so fortunate to live every day with so many people that care for each other. We truly love each other. Sometimes there are things that get between people, but in truth, all of us will be there for each other, no matter the time and no matter the need. And tonight is an example of that. Thank you very much. Also, special thanks to Mrs. Daba. I know she was mentioned, but I have to give my own mention. People sitting here should know, people in the community should know, and I'm not doing it to talk about Kim. I'm talking about what one person can do. I could tell you with absolute 100%, there's no way this would have happened or any of this would have taken place if not for this woman single-handedly working day and night to get it off the ground, and she's working it. Never say, what could one person do? Tonight is a testimony of the greatness of one person and what they can accomplish. Of course, today there are more people involved. But really, Mrs. Puiva, you're amazing. Hashem should bless you, and we should continue to learn from you and how you put yourself out for this community. There's really not much to add. You know, it's so obvious, it's so simple. We understand it. I'm just here for kavod, I think, for honor. They want me to speak. But once I'm here, I'll just say something. You know, in life, sometimes a person can take care of the need by themselves. So there are poor people in the community. Well, if I had enough money, I could pay for it all. I can cover everyone's tuition. I'll write a check for $40 million because I have a lot of money. If I have a lot of wisdom, I speak well, I could teach a lot of people. 1,000 people could be in the room. 1,000 can listen online. I can reach so many people and educate them. But tonight is one of those things that makes us all humble. It humbles every single one of us. No matter how big of a rabbi you are, no matter how popular you are, no matter how wealthy you are, it makes no difference how many connections you have. There is no way for one person to solve this issue. Even if you had all the gifts that God can give a person, you just can't do it. This project is unique because it could only happen with all of us together. If we're not going to unite together with Ahdut to do Mekudeshet, there is no Mekudeshet. This cannot be done by any individual. And therefore, it is a calling to the Ahdut of our community. It is a calling for the love that we have for each other to come together and do something really for ourselves. I'm sure that your donation is tax deductible. I'm not sure that you could write it off of Maaser. I think ultimately you could. But this is an investment in your own children. This is not giving to somebody else's children. This is your grandchildren. This is for you. This is for me. It's for all of us. Yes, you can count it as Maaser. Don't be afraid to give. But really, we should look at it as an investment in our own families. And tonight's not only about giving money. Sign up your children. Sign up somebody else's children. The database can only grow when people put names in the database. So please, Mekudeshet.org. That's the website. Put in people that need to be on this website and they will be included. Harry, did I say the wrong thing? Okay, good. The rabbis already said so much of what I wrote down on my card, so I'm not going to repeat myself. Repeat what they said. I will tell you two things that you're doing tonight that maybe you didn't think about. Number one, you're helping rabbis. You have no idea how many enemies I have. And I don't blame them. I love them. But I understand them. Rabbi Ozeri has a target on his back. Many rabbis get the attack of so many frustrated people. I don't blame anybody, believe me. But I know sitting right now at home, there are hundreds of families that say, how come Rabbi Yedid doesn't give us a boy? He knows so many boys. I mean, he teaches so many people. How come he just doesn't give us the boy? Like, why doesn't he just hand us? It doesn't work like that. But that's not the point. The point is, so many people are getting hurt from each other. The matchmakers are getting attacked. Because how come you didn't mention my daughter? What about my son? You bring not only ahadut to our community, you bring ahava, you bring shalom to our community. And last and not least, there's a pasuk in Megillat Esther that talks about the great man Mordechai. And it calls him an Ish Yehudi. Ish Yehudi means he comes from the tribe of Yehuda. But then the end of the pasuk calls him Ish Yemini, which means he comes from the tribe of Binyamin. So the Midrash says, I don't understand. Make up your mind. Is he from Yehuda, this Mordechai, or is he from Binyamin? Says the Midrash that biologically he's from Binyamin. So why are we giving him the kavod that he comes from Yehuda? It's not Yehuda's child. The Midrash says that when Yehuda stepped up in front of Yosef and took responsibility for Binyamin, Hashem says to Yehuda, Yehuda, all of that comes from that boy that you stood up to help and save will be considered your own child. You know how proud we are when we have beautiful children? Because they're our children. Could you imagine Yehuda is in Shamaim and they show him all these beautiful children, thousands of them, and they show him, hey, there's that Mordechai. He was like the Gadol Ador. You have no idea who Mordechai is till today. They're talking about him. And Yehuda says, why are you showing him to me? He's not from my children. And they said, no, he is. He's your grandchild. Because you saved Binyamin. It's called your own child. My dear friends, there are so many children that are going to be born. So many families are going to be created. And tonight and going forward, when we invest with Mekudeshet, they become our children. They become our family. Be'ezrat Hashem, I wish you all, and me, myself included, that we should see tremendous happiness in our lives. We should see menuhat nefesh, peace of mind, and in the merit of helping other people find their match. May your children and grandchildren always have it easy to find theirs. Have a beautiful night.